Hi Rockets! This week we've gotten to make some new friends. Today we're going to read a book also about new friends. The new friend in our book is named Beekle. Beekle is kind of interesting looking. Doesn't look like any animal I've ever seen before, and he certainly doesn't look like a human. Beekle is actually an imaginary friend. When something is imaginary, it means that it's made up inside our brains and our imaginations. It's kind of similar to when we play pretend. So Beekle is an imaginary friend, and Beekle needs a kid. As we read this story, we're going to talk about how Beekle feels while he's waiting for his friend, for his kid, and how he feels after he gets his new friend. Let's start reading. This is The Adventures of Beekle, the Unimaginary Friend by Santat, who wrote the book and drew the pictures. He's the author and illustrator. The Adventures of Beekle, the Unimaginary Friend. He was born on an island far away where imaginary friends were created. Here they lived and played, each eagerly waiting to be imagined by a real child. So all of these friends are made up. Take a look at them. I see a big cloud. I see a big fish who doesn't have to be in water, and something that looks like a drum with a pair of arms. All of these friends are made up. They're pretend, but they're waiting for a real kid to imagine them. Every night, he stood under the stars, hoping for his turn to be picked by a child and given a special name. He waited for many nights. He looks like he's wondering why this friend gets a turn, but he doesn't. But his turn never came. And it looks like Beekle is the last imaginary friend left. Bet he feels lonely. His mind filled with the thoughts of all the amazing things that were keeping his friend from imagining him. So now he's kind of using his imagination. It's almost like a dream he's having, where he's thinking about all these kids. Oh, maybe my kid or my friend is too busy winning soccer tournaments. Maybe they're too busy baking cakes or reading books, playing the guitar, or juggling. So rather than waiting, so he keeps thinking about these kids. He's lonely. He doesn't want to wait anymore. Rather than waiting, he did the unimaginable. Looks like he's on a boat. Looks like he's going on an adventure. He sailed through unknown waters and faced many scary things. He looks pretty scared. But thinking about his friend gave him the courage to journey on. So courage is similar to being brave. He's gonna keep on heading toward his new friend even though he feels scared. Until he reached the real world. It looks like he's pulling up to a city, big city, just like ours. The real world, that's where we live, was a strange place. No kids were eating cake. No one stopped to hear the music. And everyone needed nap time. So he says in the real world, everyone's busy, tired. No one seems to be having too much fun. And then he finally saw something familiar. Do you see it? I see a lot of people in grays and blacks up here. I see a little dog, and then I think this might be another imaginary friend. So he followed. He had a good feeling about this place. I do see some other imaginary friends here, and I also see a lot of kids. It makes sense that a place with a lot of kids would be a place with a lot of imaginary friends, because kids have really good imaginations. He looked everywhere, but he could not find his friend. So he looked here, there, over here, around here. I bet he's feeling disappointed that his friend wasn't there. He climbed to the top of a tree and looked out, wishing and hoping his friend would come. Maybe it's one of these kids. But no one came. Look at Beekle's face. He looks like he's feeling really sad, really down. He thought about how far he'd come. Remember, he went on that scary journey in the beginning. Oh, that must have been really hard to do. He thought about that long trip and how long he waited, and he felt very sad. But then he heard a noise below. Hello? Wait a minute, she can see him. Remember, he's imaginary. Not everyone can see him. She's giving him something. What do you think will be on that piece of paper? Wow, this little girl saw Beekle in her imagination and drew him. Her face was friendly and familiar, and there was something about her that felt just right. Hey, that sounds like a friend. At first, they weren't sure what to do. Neither of them had made a friend before. Has that ever happened to you? Do you ever feel a little shy when you meet a new person? But after a little while, look, they're laughing. She says, "My name's Alice." They realized they were perfect for each other. When she introduces herself, that's a way to be a really good friend. She says, "I'm Alice." But he doesn't know his name yet. And she says, "Beekle." "I'm Beekle." "Hi, Beekle." They look like they're gonna be really good friends. Beekle and Alice had many new adventures. They shared their snacks. They told funny jokes. It looks like only they understand their joke here. Everyone else looks confused. Alice imagines a lot of different adventures with Beekle. The world began to feel a little less strange. She has all of her pictures here with Beekle. And then look, another real kid. And that imaginary friend we saw before. Look, it's the same one Beekle spotted in the city. Hey, now that Alice has her imaginary friend, it seems like she's making more real friends too. And together they did the unimaginable. And here on this boat, having a pretend adventure, is Alice, all these real kids, and all of their imaginary friends. And that's the end. That was the Adventures of Beekle, the story of an imaginary friend who needed a kid. This story makes me feel really happy. Even though Beekle has to wait a while to find his kid, once he does, he and Alice, they're really happy together. And I think Now that Alice has a friend, now that Beekle has a friend, that they can be even braver together than they were before. They can do unimaginable things. They can do anything together. And all of these real kids and their imaginary friends too. I wonder what kind of friend you could come up with if you used your imagination. If you want to send me a picture, feel free to post it on Seesaw, send me a message or an email. I'd love to see it. I'll see you for our next story. Bye, Rockets.